What's happening, everybody? It is a Friday night webinar here on the Secret Beach. What is happening? I know I started, well, actually, it's right on time. It's 6 o'clock, or it's 9 o'clock, or it's 7 o'clock, somewhere in the middle of the country. How's everybody doing? I see y'all in the chat. I see Lola's having leftover rum punch from Thrifty Business last night. I'm having a brand new rum that just showed up on my doorstep. A friend from Rhode Island sent me some Rhode Island rum, and it is really good. I always get wary of little batch rums because there's one made in Cleveland that is horrible. I defy anyone to like that rum. So this is good, though. What's happening, everybody? Tonight? I'll everybody get get in here. I know not all of you are going to watch live tonight. Some of you just got on the Secret Beach today, and I happened to throw this webinar together at the last minute because I had so much extra I wanted to share. I'm like, well, bonus webinar for the Secret Beach, and since we have a whole bunch of new people, what a way to welcome them, but with a bonus webinar. Now, it's hard to see this image, but we are going to make a Secret Beach t-shirt. And the original beachcomber was Don the Beachcomber. And this is a little like caricature drawing of Don laying under a palm tree, drinking a drink with a long straw off his belly at the beach. So I think we're going to do something like that on a t-shirt. So, hi, Ma. So that is Hey Nadine. That's what we're going to be working on for the Secret Beach. We're going to have all kinds of cool stuff coming up. Monday, I don't have the time yet, but I'll have the time probably by tomorrow morning. Monday, we're doing a webinar on the follow-up to spreadsheets. This webinar will be how to do an inventory spreadsheet and how to do a sales spreadsheet with formulas, equations, but we'll make them automatic. So as you sell 100 things, it'll automatically add up the totals. It'll subtract the fees. Very simple once you get it going. Because once you get it going once, you just have to duplicate it for the next month and the next month, and makes it easy. So that'll be Monday, probably a little bit earlier. I have a dinner date with an old high school buddy Monday night, so it'll be a little bit on the earlier side on Monday. And those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. What I try and do, and I'm going to say this on every webinar, is change the webinar dates and times all the time. So that way everyone will have a chance to watch live. There's about 500 of you now, so thank you all for joining. But I know not everyone can watch at, say, 8 p.m. on Monday. So tonight we're doing a 9 p.m. On Friday, and we've done a Saturday, and we're going to do a Monday. So I'm always flipping it around. Everyone should have a fair chance to watch live. If you have been in the beach for a while and you've never seen a webinar live due to your schedule, message me and I'll make sure one is conducive to your schedule, because I'm guessing out of 500, if you've never seen it live, there's probably a few others, and I will definitely try and get everyone so they can watch live, because obviously the joys of watching live are you can have direct questions. I'll still answer questions after the fact, but I see a whole gang of you hanging out, having cocktails. So, it's definitely a fun thing to watch live. For those of you who are new, if Lola would raise her hand again in the chat. Lola is my helper in the chat. What she's going to do is compile the questions. So feel free to write them anytime you want. Compile the questions and then send them over to me. So they'll be in order with your name and the question. So when I get to the end, I will then go through and answer all the questions. So be somewhat specific, because if you just say, well, how do you do that? And I'm now answering that 30 minutes later, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. So be specific, please. There, Lola just raised her hand. So she is going to be my helper. So how's everybody doing tonight? Anybody else have a cocktail besides me? Anyone else drinking Rhode Island rum besides me tonight? Yeah, if you're seeing it blurry, there's a little gear. If you hover your mouse down below, there's a little gear at the bottom of the screen in the lower right-hand corner. And you change the quality to auto 720p. So if you're seeing it fuzzy, your computer or what have you has set it for the lowest. So you want to kick it up because you want to see this in high def. You know you do. No one else having a cocktail tonight? Oh, Nadine's got wine. One witch lady. Now, those of you who've been in know that a lot of us are losing weight. I'm on Weight Watchers, but you know what? I'm working this into my points. Also, don't forget, for those of you who know Weight Watchers, I'm a lot bigger than the average girl, especially height. So I get a lot more points. So I can work in 1 or 2 rum and cokes here or there and still be within my points. And I'm still losing weight. So, if you're going to try and lose weight with us as a gang, cool. Just, you shouldn't give up your life, but you should work it in so you lose weight. So mom had Mai Tais last night, and all right. So we had 2 people who left. Who left? who would show up and then leave? That's too funny. Alrighty, so I'm not drinking, and Jason was blurry. All right, let's get into this. So I went to a small flea market with Stacy, my wife, and Vicky Pig Panther last week, and it was kind of a train wreck. And so a couple things popped in my head that I wanted to share, and I was going to do a post. And then I'm like, oh, I should have talked about this. Oh, and this, and this. And so before I knew it, I had a whole kind of like follow-up webinar to last week's webinar, how to sell real things to real people in person. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, and just more tips and tricks for that. And I forget who it was, but I know someone who just joined is doing their first flea market Sunday. I hope they're watching right now, because I'll give you a few more tips and tricks, and we'll get you all squared away for your big flea market on Sunday. All right, let's get to it. Stop listing, start selling, how to sell real things to real people in person. Part 2, exclusively for the Beach. All right, first little tip, and this is not just for flea markets, but this could be used for any part of your business. You should be using your notes. If you have an Apple product, or if you don't, download Evernote for an Android product. If you have a Windows-based phone, good luck. Notes is great because if you have all Apple products like I do, so I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, I have a MacBook Air, and I have a Mac desktop, all right here. When I type a note into any note, it is automatically on all of them. So no matter what I'm typing on or holding, it moves to all of them. So if you're starting to get ready for a flea market, and you're like, all right, I got to remember to pack my credit card charger. I got to remember to pack my starting cash. I got to remember. You start your list right there in your notes and keep on going down. Now, if you're at the flea market and you're thinking about things for next time, again, start that note. Give your note a title. The first line will automatically be the title. So put like things to pack for the flea market, or things for the next flea market. Now, right now, so I'm going to Europe in August, September. And right now I've got one, because you can add pictures and links and everything. Right now I got one with every cool thing I found out about Europe, that the places I'm going to be, I'm putting it in that list to keep track of. And so it'll make it super duper easy for me. So definitely use your notes app for all your business. It really, really helps. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be business, but it makes it easy to access it from anywhere. Okay, so one thing I was thinking about, because we were in an outdoor flea market. Most flea markets are outdoors, not all. But the one thing, if you're selling outside, you must think about is wind. And I didn't talk about that at all. And inevitably, especially if you're a place where it is windy, which is not every place, inevitably, you're going to be at a flea market and hear glass breaking all over the place. So you want to... Stace, you joined the actual broadcast. You want to make sure that your stuff is secure and not going to blow over. So, for instance, sandbags or stakes to keep your tent down. So if you have your tent covering, which we talked about in the last webinar, you want to make sure it don't go nowhere. And let me tell you, I've seen them blow over. And when that blows over, that is a lot of surface space that'll blow over and get knocked down. So make sure that you have your tent grounded. And the big thing is breaking glass. So there's 2 things that could go wrong. Now, this picture is a lot of stuff with a low center of gravity. So that's not a problem. Vases that, especially if they kind of went out, so it has a lot of top surface space, but it's light. Or if you have like big artwork, but it's not heavy, like say a poster framed in like a cheap Walmart frame. You have that set against a table, and when the wind blows, it just knocks it over. Don't think I've ever been to a flea market where I haven't heard smashing glass. So keep that in mind. Wind, you have to factor it into your thing. Wind is a must to factor in. Okay, so at this flea market, I took a few pictures of what not to do. So make sure you don't do this. The flea market started at 8. I took this picture at 8:15. As you can see, they are just setting up their booth in that car right there. If the flea market starts at 8, you should be ready to go 7:45. And here's why you should be ready to go 15 minutes early. Most vendors will be ready, and guess what? The vendors want first dibs at your stuff. Now, they're going to try and get a deal from you, so you don't have the deal because you just started. But if you can make a quick 50, 100, 200 bucks before opening, do it. But if you're pulling up and unloading at 15 past when it's supposed to start, you ain't getting any extra sales. So make sure you are ready to go when the time is right. Now, this booth is actually done and set up. No, I'm serious. I saw this booth. I looked at it. I'm thinking, what a mess and what a load of crap. It was all just crap. And I took this picture, went about my day. And today, when I was loading this picture into the presentation, I really started to laugh. Now, I'm going to guess most of you know I used to have a TV show, and I used to have a different Facebook group called Thrifting with the Boys with my ex-friend, Brian. This is Brian. And I didn't notice it was him until today when I was putting the pictures in. I was like, oh, this is what not to do. And to find out it was my old partner, Brian. And the reason we're not partners anymore, because he did a lot of what not to do's. So do not set up your booth junkie. Why bring a clothing rack for 5 pieces of clothing? That's seems like a waste to me. And it's just, it's a hot mess. It was a hot mess. So don't do that. And I only found out it was him because someone else went to the flea market later and said, hey, I saw your old partner. And then I was thinking about it. I looked at this picture and I'm like, oh, that's my old partner. Too weird. All right. So now let's talk about clothing, because a lot of us will probably sell clothing. I always have Hawaiian shirts, Hawaiian dresses, and the like. If you have t-shirts, you can hang them up on a rack, or you can have them on a table. The only problem with having them on a table, if you don't own a rack, is it gets messed up quick, and you're going to spend the entire day refolding and refolding and refolding. Trust me, from a veteran of throwing garage sales, that you're going to keep cleaning up clothes all day. All right. So before we even talk about how to price your shirts, and when I say price, how to actually put the price tags on, we need to talk about what type of hangers you're going to be using, because it's very important to use the right hanger. And this might seem jokingly, but trust me from experience, when I have the wrong hangers, I'm pissed. Okay. Our first option is the hanger that everyone has, plastic. You buy them at Walmart, you buy them at Kmart. They're in every thrift store in the world. This is what I use. The second option is the hangers from the dry cleaner. Now, the difference is you obviously can fit a lot more of these hangers than these hangers. Okay, that's going to play a little bit of a role in depending on how much room you have. The third option, and a little more expensive, is these. And what's nice about these is it's got the rotating head. So we're going to talk about keeping all your stuff in order. And so when it's rotating head, it's super easy to just rotate it around. Without the rotating head, you actually have to turn your hanger around in the clothing. And then the third option is the big, thick Mama Jamma. Now, I would never use these unless you are selling heavyweight, heavy-duty things. So say you're doing leather coats. You're going to probably need the bigger, heavy-duty hanger. It's going to take up a lot more room, so keep that in mind. Now, the key to selling a lot of clothing and having the clothing rack, which you saw in the first presentation, is to get everything on the hanger ahead of time. So it's all sorted by size. And then you take them all off and put them in your plastic tubs in order by size. And I take zip ties and I zip tie the sizes together. So as I pull them out of the tub, they're on the hangers, on the zip ties, set them on the rack, cut the zip tie off, boom, ready to go. It's all about saving time when it's important. So when it's not important to save time is when you're standing in your garage 2 weeks before the event. getting it ready. The day of, when you're at the event, you don't want to be putting them on hangers and figuring out where they go. Should be ready to go, nice and organized. Oops. Wrong computer. Backing it up. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's the 3 things you need to price clothing. First, you need these little, I don't know what you call them, little plastic doohickeys, all right? They come in a big box, and they look like this. The second thing you need is price tags. They, too, come in a big box, and they look like this. Now, the key to this is getting price tags without string. You do not need string, so you just want a price tag that looks like that, all right? And then the third thing we need is the pricing gun. So if you've never used one, I'm going to demonstrate it for you here because this is a lot of fun. Okay, so you load the plastic things into the top. There's a guide. So you can't load it in wrong. It's impossible. And then you get your tag. Now, the key to selling vintage clothing is to write the chest size. So I wrote chest for men. If it was a women's dress, I would write bust, because a large 1950s shirt is not a large modern shirt. Anyone shopping will realize it's a vintage shirt. So make sure that you put the bust size, because that helps. That always helps. Now, there is no size tag. I kind of figured out based on what modern is, but I still write the chest measurement. All right. So everybody got that so far? All right, so here's my shirt. Now, there are multiple places you can put it. What I do normally, because I use this hanger, because you can see through it, is take it, stick the needle through the hole in the tag, and then I put it through the tag in the shirt. Now, what you have to do, it looks like it's a honking needle, and it is. Most people won't care if there's a little hole in their tag. And stick it in there. So stick it in there, and then you got to give it a little force, a little pull. And there you go. Now it is priced. Ta-da! If you happen to be using these hangers, it won't work because, of course, it'll now cover where the tag is. So you can do another way, and that is off the sleeve. And sometimes people like to do the sleeve. So if you've got all the clothes hanging on a rack and you do the sleeves, they can definitely easily see it. I like to do the tag because, not much damage to the tag, but also they got to get in and look at it and touch it a little bit more. If they see it hanging off the tag and they see a price, maybe they don't like the price, but they don't realize how awesome the piece is, they might keep on moving. So that's my little suggestion. But if you want to do it off the sleeve, what you want to do is you want to run it right through the seam on the sleeve, if there is one, or right in where the armpit meets. So you try and always do it on a seam, and that way it's so not noticeable. So not noticeable. So we'll do this one right in the armpit sleeve, in the armpit. So we'll stick the needle through, give it a good pull, and boom, now we are priced. Okay, do that. It looks better. You look professional. It's uniform. But, and here's the key. If you remember the last week's presentation, the last sale I went to, everything was like $10. All my clothing was $10. So I didn't need to price anything because I picked a uniform price. But the sale before that, I really had some really nice, rare clothes that I was selling for $100 a shirt. So I wanted to profile those. I wanted to make sure that it was priced accordingly. But if you're going to do across the board pricing, do not waste your time or money on this. But if you're not, definitely do this. All right. Yep, you can do it the collar too. Just find a seam. Just don't stick it. Look, I've seen thrift stores do it. Don't stick it straight through the shirt. Don't stick it straight through the pocket. Find a seam and stick it through there because once they cut it out, it'll never be noticeable. All right. So let's get that out of the way. Oh, I forgot the slide. It's gun time. It was gun time. We did the gun. Oh, and by the way, the guns are cheap. The gun, I think, is like $11 or $10. And I've had this box forever, and I still got a shit ton, and this box too. So, and this was at $7 and this was $7. So I've spent $25 and I'll be able to price 1,000 things. So it's not a huge cost involved. And you should have, like I said, it'll make you look good. Okay, so I kind of alluded to this a little bit. Make sure all your items are facing the same way, no matter what you're selling. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is as a music buyer, and I look through a lot of CDs and a lot of records at garage sales, and when I have to keep turning my head, or if I've picked up the records and this one's forward, this one's back, and this one's front, it drives me insane. Now it takes a while to do that. But trust me when I tell you, it is easier to shop, obviously, and it'll sell you more things. The more times your buyer has to crick their head or turn something around, there's a point where they'll get annoyed and leave. So make sure all these CDs were facing the right way accordingly. These on the right were facing that way, and those on the left were facing that way. So definitely keep all the things in order. Same with your clothing. Now, in this shot, this was the setup shot. This was not at the sale shot. You can actually see shirts going different ways. And I have I'm using a variety of hangers too. But when you get to the event, if you realize you've screwed up and set all the hangers up the wrong way to flow the right way based on how the rack is set, I would recommend taking 5 minutes to quickly flip all the hangers around. The joys of using these, especially if they don't have this part, is you can just turn them, and that makes it easy. And again, if you're using wire hangers, if you're using wire hangers, you can definitely fit a lot more in a tub. This doesn't seem like much, but when they start to build up, it adds a lot of density to the tub that you're putting the clothes in. So just keep that in mind. I have a big SUV. I have a new truck now. So I got the room. I know who the beachcomber who's doing the flea market on Sunday has a smaller car. Luckily, she only has to go 5 miles, and so they're going to take 2 loads. My next sale, which I'm going to talk about in a second, is like 265 miles for me. So I can't take 2 loads. It's got to all fit in the same load. Alrighty. All right. You must have size dividers. Again, you want to look as professional as possible. And the big key is make it as easily shoppable as possible. You don't want to go, yeah, I think the smalls are here and the mediums start there and then the larges. These aren't expensive. As you can see, I had 2 sets. The one in the picture were long, skinny ones. I lost these. I bought new ones, and then I found these. So have your variety of sizes. And then they also give you some blank ones. So I break them out to ladies' tops, ladies' bottoms. And although the customers might not read them, most will. And it is easier to keep it organized. So some people will pull something off, they'll try it on, don't fit. It is easy to stick it back where it goes in an instant. So these are a must. Again, not expensive. I think a whole set is like $9.99 or $10.99. So definitely use those. Okay, so let me get back to this. Sometimes you might share a booth with a friend, which I recommend because it makes it easier to set up, tear down, and you can take turns shopping and going potty breaks and stuff. Or if you're just selling stuff for a friend, if you remember from last week's webinar, Dirk Verman is my tattoo artist and my buddy. He was also the star of A&E's Bad Ink. So, of course, when I sold, as I told you last week, when I sold at that where I was selling his stuff, I profiled one TV guy was selling another TV guy's stuff. And so it brought more eyes on me. But I had to keep track of Dirk's stuff and my stuff. So the key to do that is have 2 color tags. So all my tags are white, and I used green for Dirk's. And what I did was, as I sold Dirk's items, I would peel the sticker off and stick them on just this piece of paper. So at the end of the day, I could just quickly add that up, and I sold $400 worth of Dirk stuff. I took my cut, and I gave him his cut. So that is a quick, easy way. Now, if you're sharing a booth, like with somebody sitting next to you, obviously still do the 2 colors. And you're just going to have to keep track of, like, somebody's going to want to buy 2 things of yours and 3 of theirs. So the best thing to do probably is have 2 pieces of paper, accept all the money, and just make it one big pile between the 2. You don't even keep track of the money during the day, but take the stickers, 1 page for you, 1 page for them. if you guys did well and paid attention well at the end of the day, those 2 pages should add up to what's in your pocket. Don't forget to take out your starting money before you do that, though. Okay, now there's one thing I didn't talk about the other day, and I should have, but I'm glad I didn't because I saved it just for you guys here in the Secret Beach, is pricing strategies. Because there is a strategy. Now, if you recall from last week's webinar, this was 2 sales ago. And this sale, I rented 2 booths. All the clothing hanging up was high-end stuff. The purple and white shirt sold for $75. The blue shirt towards the far left sold for $60. So I was doing high-end stuff. As you can see all the green tags on the right table. That is all Dirk stuff right there. And then the rest was mine. Because of that, I had a few budget things, but mostly it was good collectibles priced accordingly. And so it was a more higher end sale. I sold probably less pieces, but I made a little bit more money. Now, the sale a couple of weeks ago, I tried a new method. Excuse me. Rum burps. I tried a new method where I was going to do everything $10, and then I realized some things weren't even worth 10. So I did about 2/3 10 and then 1/3 5. So for those of you who didn't see the webinar, anything that wasn't marked was 10. 5 was, I marked at 5. And so this way I did a lot less work on pricing because I found this kind of like awesome midpoint where maybe I sold some things too cheap, but I always buy my stuff cheap. So I was making good profit and I was moving a lot of product. I was moving. So as we were going to air last week for the webinar, like minutes before, I get a message from a buddy of mine, Dr. Shocker. And Dr. Shocker said, "Hey, Jay, I'm going to start this new Tiki event in Ventura next month. You want to vend?" And I'm like, man, I was not ready to go to another event already because I sold most of my product. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this because I thought it'd be cool to be in the ground level at a new event because if it works out good, when you do specialty events, they'll always give first dibs to the next event to their sellers who have come already. And they have 2, it's going to be an outdoor event. There's 2 cabanas. So there's already a covering and they're having bands all night. And it's only $60 for the cabana. And I'm like, geez, I would have rent the cabana for $60 to watch the bands I like. But now I get to make money and have a covering all day and be able to sit all day. And so it's beautiful. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And so what I decided to do was I'm going to take the success of the higher end stuff I sold 2 events ago and the success of the lower end stuff I sold 1 event ago, and I'm going to combine the 2. So there's something I've never done. I've never done like a budget table and then a high end table. So I'm starting to put it together because you all saw my commercial. I'm going to be doing a fresh one, but this time I'm bringing $100 Tiki mugs, $150 Tiki mugs, a ton of $30 and $40 Tiki mugs, and a whole table of $5, $8, and $10 mugs too. So I'm going to have something for every level of collector and everybody who needs to fill a hole in their collection. I'm going to do that. So I have to now make a different commercial because last time it was all about budget. This time it's going to be somewhat budget, but somewhat, have you been looking for this rare Trader Vic's mug? Well, I've got one for you. So if you're the first one to my booth, you know you need it. It's going to be yours. So I've now tried both ways, and I'm going to try and now meld them together. So that is my plan for the next one. And of course, I will definitely follow up with the Secret Beach and let you know how it went. And if any of you are in Southern California, please come see me, Ventura. Now, here's the other thing, and here's the other reason why I'm really going to do a good commercial. The last commercial, I kind of winged it, and it worked out great. I got lots of business from it. I'm going to sit and think because this event is coinciding on the same day as an event in Huntington Beach. Now, Ventura and Huntington Beach aren't all that close to each other. It's probably about an hour and a half between the two. And so you're going to get different clientele. But the one in Huntington Beach happens every 6 weeks. This is a brand new one. And the bands playing are going to be a huge, huge draw. And there's going to be a car show. So I'm going to play off the fact that it's a new event. And as you know, I put music underneath me. I'm going to put the music of the headlining band because they're the biggest Tiki band at all our events. And so I'm going to make sure the people see my commercial know that besides buying cool stuff, you get to see a cool band, and the entry fee is only $10. So that's the other thing too, is do your research, know what you're going into. I said to the guy, which bands are officially booked? I'm going to use that in my commercial. So he told me. Okay, so here's the strategy. If you're pricing everything individually, Price it with a smidge of room to haggle. People will haggle with you, even at specialty events, and I welcome it. And I always tell them, the more you buy, the better my deal gets. Remember, there are no fees other than whatever your rent is. So my rent's $60 for that booth for the day. Once I sell a $100 mug, I'm good. Of course, I got gas to and from. I'm staying at a friend's place in Malibu, so I don't got to worry about any lodging. But there's no eBay fees. There's no PayPal fees. It's an instant cash sale in front of you. Now, there could be PayPal fees if they use a credit card, which, of course, as you remember from the last webinar, I welcome that also. But be prepared and be aware of, you should cut a little bit of deals because it's just cash in your pocket for the most part. And throw some serious deals at the end. The last thing you want to do is pack up more than you have to. If someone's hanging around at the end, especially at an event where they can drink, and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, come on, put 10 things together. I'll throw you a deal. The less you got to pack up, the better off you are. Now, here's a prime example. This exact mug sold on eBay for $21.05 just in December of last year. I have one here that I'm selling at the event, and I've priced it at $25. So it's a little bit above what is sold on eBay. So now I'll haggle. So I'm hoping that, I'm expecting someone to buy this from me for $20. And so if they buy it for $20 cash, I'm well ahead of that seller that sold for $20 on eBay. I am about 13% ahead of him. So if you can repeat that all day long, you're good. So keep that in mind. All these things should be flowing through your head when you're pricing and when you're selling. And that way you'll see the bigger picture. Don't look short-sighted. See the big picture. See, okay, I could have sold it for 25 on eBay, but with the fees, if I sold it for 20 cash, it's about the same. And it was quick. It's there. I moved it. I'm putting the right stuff in front of the right customers. All right, here's my secret packing tool. You ready? Oh, whoops. Hey, here's my secret packing tool. You ready? It is a booze box. Now, you can buy them for $8.30 at Uline if you buy 10. Or you can go to the liquor store and buy a bottle of rum and pick one up. All liquor stores throw out more boxes than they ever use. They're all right at checkout. They're typically used for people who buy in 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles of booze. But even if I buy one, I always take one home. And for me, I usually look for a cool rum one. And this is, if you're selling glassware, tiki mugs, pilsners, whatever, this is the best way to pack it. So I'm gonna try and show you this. These are tall, so they're bottle height. So when you're selling glassware, you can typically put 2 things per slot. Okay. Let me see if I can pull this off. I should have probably practiced this. All right, it's not too bad. Let's get the light over here. Okay, so I'm going to drop this mug in that slot right there. And then I cut out a little piece of scrap cardboard. I'm just going to set it right on top, like so. And then I'm going to drop this second shorter mug right on top. And as you can see, it clears. Now, also, because you have space, I have this rum shot glass. So I'm going to take our eBay paper. I'm going to wrap it up so it's a little bit of padded. And then also I have some padding to use when I sell it. And it'll fit nicely inside the top of this short mug. And as you can see, it closes. So now in one slot, I have put 3 products for sale. You must always maximize your space, whether it's on your table or it's in your packing to go to set up your table. And I have used these forever. Piece of cardboard, 2 things per slot. And then if you can fit something else inside of it, that's great too. So that is how you maximize your space. Get them at your local liquor store. And you know what? If you're not buying liquor, one of the grocery stores my wife likes is next door to a liquor store. So I'll just stick my hand. I'm like, can I take a box? And they've never said no. Never, ever, ever. You might have a jerky liquor store near you, but the ones near me are very nice. Maybe they recognize me because I buy a lot of rum there. So even on days I'm not buying rum, they're still like, sure, Jay, you can take a box. No big deal. So yeah, 8:30 at Uline, 3 at the liquor store. Okay, last little tip here is if you have duplicates, keep them underneath. So I am taking a ton of duplicates to this event. Now this event's a little bit different. It goes from noon to midnight. I can break down at 5 if I want, or I can stay vending all the way to midnight while the bands play. So I'm going to bring a lot of duplicates of cool mugs, and I'm going to have them all in one box. So as they sell, because like I've taught you, as things sell, always bring more than you need. Keep bringing them up, and then keep rearranging your table. I will keep replenishing the ones that sold until I've sold out of those. So you don't want to put 5 on the table at once, because somebody's going to be like, no, man, I'm going to cut him a deal. He's got 5. No. You want to make everyone feel your last one for sure. But try and remember what you got, especially like I'm doing this one with Stacy. She'll see all the duplicates as we set up, so she'll know too what to replenish from time to time. And here's my parting thought, and it's something that happens to me, and I've been doing this forever. You will forget something or some things. Don't sweat it. Just make a note in your little note app of it for the next time. You will forget to bring your credit card reader. You will forget to bring starting cash, hopefully not. You'll forget to bring tape. You will forget something. Don't sweat it. Just make a note for next time, especially if it's something that works for you and is successful. Then you're going to want to make sure you've got your notes to like, all right, I ain't making that mistake twice. I'll make it once, but never twice. So that is my parting thought. And hey, now it's time for Q&A. All right. Hope you all got some good tips out of that. I wasn't able to watch the chat too much, but I saw some people going, ooh, I like that idea. So I hope my addition to last week's webinar was good for you guys. All right. I see a couple questions here. I don't see a ton, but if you got some, load them up right now. Sherry wants to know, can I get doohickeys on Amazon? Now, I said be specific. I'm guessing you meant these doohickeys, and I would assume so. There's a display store in town at Vegas called Ralph Jones, and they sell all this stuff at really good prices. They got mannequins, they got racks, they got this stuff, everything. And it's right near a Savor. So usually when I need stuff, I just pop in there. But yeah, these are called quick attach fasteners. So there you go, quick attach fasteners. And then the price labels are just number 8 tag, no string. Now the number 8 means the size, and you want a good amount of size to write the size and to write the chest measurement and anything else you might have to write. So I'm guessing that's what you meant by doohickeys. Oh, and the pricing gun, same thing. Yeah, you'll definitely find these, and you'll find bigger, fancier ones. You'll find ones with different gauge needles. I don't know what this gauge is, but the brand is just GP. And like I said, it was $11, and it works perfectly. You do not need anything fancier at all. All right. I think Lola had a question. Advantage of the price gun over using safety pins. Safety pins are a product you have to have. Then that you got to have a lot of them. 100 here. Imagine the space 100 safety pins would take. This is 100 doohickeys. So much easier and just more professional looking, because once you pull the trigger, it's done. You got to get the safety pin in there, get it close, stick your finger with a needle. Yeah, that just doesn't happen with a gun. So I mean, you absolutely could, but I find the gun easier and more professional looking. Mary Lucas, do you let the people take the hanger too? Nope. No, I bring all my hangers home because I vend, at least once a year. I'm vending twice in a month and a half or 2 months. So, and I'll probably, if this event works good and they do it again, I'll probably do it again. And if you've never been to Ventura, it's full of thrift stores. So if you're anywhere in the area and you're coming up to visit me, come up, get up there early, hit some of the thrift stores in town, come to the event. It's only $10. Come hang out, have a Mai Tai with me. One Witch Lady, do you or how do you keep track of what you sold and take them to the event? I don't. You'll know what you sold price-wise by the end, but what I'm taking. Like right now, I'm setting up for this new one, and because I'm going a little bit higher end and taking real collectibles, because I'm going to try and push that kind of customer to me, I'm just walking around the house going, okay, I got 2 of those, I got 3 of those, I'll yank those off the shelf. And I have more tiki mugs than I have space. So the shelves needed to be thinned anyway. And I'm in a unique situation. I'm a weird collector where the house is full and I can just peel off stuff because I'm going to sell them and then put fresh stuff on there. So the best way to keep track is just keep track of your money and you know what you sold. I hope that answers your question. It'd be too hard to keep track of every little thing you packed and then everything you sold for the exact amount. It's just better to have the full amount at the end, because again, it's all about time. If I wrote down and kept track of the 400 or 500 items I'm taking, that'd take a long time. Chris R, do you recommend creating an area for people to try things on? Now, normally there's a bathroom nearby, and this is where you have to be a little trustworthy. If it's not right next to you, just go, yeah, just take it. Usually, I mean, I've never had anyone steal anything. So usually let's go in the bathroom. And when I was vending outside, the event where I vented outside, inside, same event. But when we were outside, the bathroom was still inside. So they actually had to walk a little bit of a ways. Usually they'll leave their friend or somebody there that they're with. Just let them go try it on. At some major events, some major clothing sellers will build a changing booth in their booth. But they make big booths, like 40 by 20s. So they'll put in a little square vending area, made out of curtains. But usually you're near a bathroom. Usually, hopefully, having a couple cocktails. You need to go pee pee. Chris R, are you better off at a live event if you theme your, I'm guessing, stuff very carefully, or being more eclectic? Yeah, I mean, I've done both. So when I sell at my tiki events, it's definitely themed out. Now, I am taking non-tiki stuff, but stuff that fits into the aesthetic of a lot of tiki people's lives. Mid-century modern things, like I'm taking 3 pieces of gravel art. I'm taking art from not tiki events, but burlesque events, because burlesque fits into the tiki world. So I'm expanding. It's going to be mainly tiki, but I'm expanding out because I got cool stuff that fits in with it. So I will definitely take that stuff, and I'm going to profile that stuff, because you're going to get the tiki crowd coming anyway. It's a tiki event. And so if someone who's like, I'm not so tiki, but I'm into hot rods because it's a hot rod show, I've got some hot rod type stuff that would fit into that too. So I am thinking about the whole event and all the customers I could get, not just the tiki customer. Debbie Parker wants to know, what if somebody breaks something in your booth? Well, knock on wood or pressed board, I have never, ever, ever had that happen to me. It's crazy. It's lucky because it happens. And, that's a tough one because I've never had it happen. Now, if someone knocks over $100 mug and breaks it, we'd have to have a talk about them paying for it. But then, knowing me, I'd probably cut them a sweet deal on a secondary item, so they won't feel so bad handing me $100 for a pile of broken rubble. I'd give them a second mug, cut them a deal, and I'd still lose out a little bit. But you could say, hey, you owe me that money, but I probably wouldn't. But luckily, I've never had it happen. But now you've probably jinxed me, and it's going to happen on March 11th in Ventura. Come see me. All right, Debbie Parker, what about paying local sales tax? Yeah, I never talk about tax. Some events will make you set it up so you have to. Others will leave it up to you to take care of. I recommend you follow all the laws of this great nation. That's all I'll say about taxes. Nadine, hey, Nadine. What do you mean by burlesque events, and how does that tie into the tiki world? Not burlesque events. I mean, well, there are, but at a tiki event, burlesque stuff works into the event. So, for instance, the music I started with tonight was music from Betty Page. It's called Burlesque Music. So if I was selling the CD, I'd put it in my booth, because someone in the burlesque and tiki blend together. And I have some event posters from burlesque events that have great art on them that are framed. And I think that the clientele coming to a tiki / hot rod car show will also like burlesque stuff and will probably like this artwork. And if they didn't attend the event, or they didn't get the poster, this might be the chance they're like, oh, damn, I didn't buy that poster. And now they're going to buy that poster all framed, matted, and ready to go for them. Brenda Brand, hey, Jason, are you aggressive seller or laid back? All right. So anyone who's known me for any amount of time online knows I'm very aggressive in terms of I don't take no shit. But when I'm selling, I am very much laid back. I don't push anything on anybody, but I'm always there. I try and get away from my booth because I'm a big dude. I take up a lot of space in my booth. So when there's a lot of people, I'll actually back out of my own booth, let them shop. And if I see just a lot of people milling, I will say, hey, man, this whole table's $5-10. These are some of the better mugs. You buy a lot, I'll cut you a deal. But I won't be, There used to be a store called The Buckle. It was in a lot of malls, and the employees of The Buckle were all trained to be like this. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you can use a belt today. Oh, I love blue on you. It matches your eyes. Let's get you another blue shirt. So annoying. Don't ever be like the employees at The Buckle. So I'm laid back, especially at an event where you're having cocktails. It's definitely way more laid back than if you're in a field at a flea market at 6 a.m. It's a little bit different. But yeah, I am never pushy. Some people don't like to be talked to in the shop. Some do. So I try and ride that middle. If I ride that middle, I feel I'll be pretty good. Plus, I have Stacy there. She's much cuter than me. So she's smaller, so she can still fit amongst the people easier. So a lot of times I'll back out and let her just kind of handle the vending while I'm kind of just schmoozing people and getting people coming on over to the booth. Oh, that's it. No more questions? Cool. All right. Yeah, I am going to London. I'm going to London. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to Ghent, Belgium. I'm going to Amsterdam. I'm going to Rotterdam. I'm going to The Hague. And I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to Lille, France. Lille. Oh, we have another question from one witch lady. How do you suggest someone who is not a people person to do this? You can be quiet when you're selling. You don't have to be overly talkative about your products, just as long as you're smiling. So if you're not a people person, that's cool. You can still sell. Like a lot of times when I'm buying at a booth, I don't need to have long conversations with a seller. In fact, as a buyer, I hate them. I don't need to have. Now, if I have a question about a product, yeah, I'm absolutely going to ask. I hope he gives me an answer. I don't need to have a conversation about how the weather is, how cute my t-shirt is, how the Cleveland Indians are doing. I don't need to. Don't want to. If it happens, I won't ignore it. I'll have it. But I'd rather just kind of shop in peace. So if you're selling and not a people person, that's cool because you can still do this. Just as long as you have a smile, because people can feel the smile, but they'll also feel the grump if you're a grumpy. And then just, talk when asked a question or, if you got, tell them the total, give them change. But you do not have to be as aggressively outgoing as myself and my wife. We're social butterflies. We're party animals. We like to flit about. And that's why it's great when we vend together because we both can go then shop and socialize because a lot of friends will be there. It's an all-day event. So I will definitely be in and out of my booth. But I'll make sure that everyone knows I'm there and knows I'm vending. So, Chris R., have you ever sold furniture at a flea market or know people who do? I have never sold furniture of any type, really. Chairs. I sold chairs on eBay. Matter of fact, I got to list another one, but that's it. Furniture just not my speed, not my style. Of course, like I found 14 Herman Miller office chairs from 1979. That is my speed and style, especially since they cost $50 and I'm selling them for about $1,200 a piece. So that's my style. But bigger furniture, I have not, and I don't know anybody who's done a lot of furniture. So I'm not sure what your follow-up question would be, Chris, but furniture just ain't my thing. Now, I think my mom has sold some furniture here and there, and she's had some antique furniture and still does. So she might be able to answer if you had a follow-up question. Mom might be able to answer that. Nadine asks, not an ideal solo gig. No, it can be. Like the one where I sold outside with a picture with a big booth, a double booth, I was by myself. I set that big double booth up all by myself in about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And again, friends came to visit. Our friend Robin came down. Our friend Debbie Weeder came down with their hubbies. So at some point I had friends in my booth. So at that time I was able to go pee. They were able to go grab me lunch and a cocktail. But yeah, I could do it solo if I have to. Like if Stacy can't go, I would definitely go because if I can make $2,000 and hang out with my friends for a day, that's a fun day. Where else could you spend an entire day hanging out with friends, listening to great live music and make $2,000? That's a fun day. So if you got to go solo, you go solo. But it is fun and more helpful if two people are setting up and tearing down. It definitely is. So if you can get a friend, if you got to throw them $50, $100, bring them along. And it's fun. I've never not had fun at these events, at any events. And I've luckily also, knock on wood, press board, I've never been stuck in bad weather at an event. So thank God. But, I could see how it could be miserable if you're by yourself and it rains. I could see how that would really stink. Chris R., what is the recommended size item range? So I'm guessing you mean like size items like the products, Chris? Is that what you mean? Because there is no recommended range. It depends on kind of what you're selling, If you're selling at a furniture place, then of course you're going to be bringing furniture. But as you saw from last week's webinar, you're only going to have a certain amount of space. And this thing's actually bigger. It's 10 by 10. So because it's 10 by 10, it's in a corner, I will be able to cheat it a little bit and I'll make a little space for us to sit because a 12-hour day, I'm definitely not standing for 12 hours. But I'm going to bring enough products to fill my booth 1.5 times. And because to get more square footage, you go up. So make sure you always have levels on your tables. So yeah, so I see Lola and Nadine are making plans to sell an event. There you go. Yeah. And what I recommend, I think I said in the original webinar, I'll say it again. If you can go to the event once before you vend there and get the feel for the flow, I highly recommend it. Now, of course, this brand new event, I'm not going to be able to shop it before I vend it, but I know the guy throwing it. I know the area. I know the band's playing. I know the tiki carvers who are going to be carving live at the event. I know that'll draw people in. So I got no worries. Now, it might not be the best attended event because it's brand new and it's competing, but I get to see some friends in Malibu. Friends in Ventura. I will make some money. Plus, the commercials I make for myself for these events end up helping beyond the events. And we're going to talk about that in the near future. So it all works together. And I source while I'm traveling to LA so that I can bring stuff home to make me money. So, it's an all big circle that works for me. So because the chat will go away when we close this, Nadine's like, I never thought of or considered for real. I was not even caring about the webinar last week, but now I got her wheels rolling. So that's what I like to see. And that's always the goal of the things in the Secret Beach. Get your wheels rolling. Some things are going to be fun in specific products. Like for those of you who are new, we did a great Christmas CD webinar. I know it's February, going to be March. Watch it now. Now's the time to buy your Christmas CDs. Sometimes it's going to be about how to do inventory. Horribly boring, but you'll be shocked at how many mistakes you find in your inventory. So you got to do it. And things like selling at a flea market. Maybe you never thought to do it. Nadine and Lola are going to do it now. We got one of the beachcombers going to do it this Sunday for the first time. So it's always about putting new ideas in your head, getting the wheel spinning and making you think about selling and making money from different avenues, because eBay is great. But if you can have money coming from eBay and then coming from Amazon, selling products, and then making t-shirts and Amazon merch, and then selling things on local apps like OfferUp, and then selling at a flea market maybe twice a year, and you're doing YouTube videos, making a little bit of revenue from YouTube videos. If you have all these things coming in, so you have all these streams of revenue, so one's big and maybe you got like 10 smalls, at the end of the year, you look at all these streams, you go, man, I had a great year. Because let me tell you, this month I've done over 4,000 on eBay and Amazon, but I've done 2,000 in vending between online, Facebook, and that sale, or 2,500. So by the end of the month, I might have sold about $7,000 in February. And I'm not working that hard at it, so to speak. I'm working hard at doing stuff for you guys and getting you all on the beach. And so can you imagine if I just put my nose to the grind and only sold? If I can half-ass it and do $7,500 in a month in sales, you can too. And so that's the whole point of the Secret Beach, is to teach you new ways, new products, new ideas, and new avenues to sell. And that's why you guys join me, and that's what I'm going to bring to you. So that's I'm so glad you're all here, because I got so much stuff. I just got to get out. Man. I did a show last night with Nadine, this tonight. I do the show with my mom on Sunday, and then your next webinar is Monday. Hey, quick turnaround. So spreadsheets on Monday. Any other questions? Oh, the yarn webinar will not be a Secret Beach exclusive thing. That's something Nadine is doing. She's putting a whole long video together. It's gonna be her product. So it is not a specific Secret Beach thing. That is a Nadine product, but we will definitely talk about that coming up. So stay tuned. I'm sure we can work a deal for the Secret Beach. What else? All right, I think that's it. So I know we didn't have a ton of live viewers tonight. It was kind of a surprise webinar. Totally get that. It's also a Friday night. I know people are out and about doing things, but for those of you who have watched after the fact, I am more than happy to answer any questions I did not answer tonight. So underneath the video in the Secret Beach, just pop in your question, tag me. I will answer any and all questions. And I'm so happy to have you all here. I'm so glad you've joined us. And I'm glad the 27 of you who tuned in tonight live have joined us. I think it was going to be a fun ride. I think you're going to learn a lot. I think your businesses are going to go to the next level. And now that we've decided to also take the rest of our lives to the next level in terms of I'm losing weight, some of you are quitting smoking. I know there's a couple people that want to have more fun, and I cannot wait to teach people how to have more fun. For those of you who don't have enough fun in your life and you see me having fun, we're going to work on that too, because you only get one chance at this ride. And when you get to the end of it, you don't want to say, shit, I should have done more. So now that you're hanging out with me, we're going to have a lot more fun. So if you're not having a lot of fun, and look, fun isn't about just hopping on a plane and going to Europe or going to 10 concerts in a week. Fun can be just be like, you know what? I've always wanted to hike up that mountain behind my house. Today's the day I'm going to do it. So that could be two things, fun and exercise. So fun can be just reading a book, turning off social media and your business for 2 hours and going out back and reading a book in the sun. So those are all the things that we're going to work on for everybody, because your life should be well-rounded and not just your business. I see too many friends who are wrapped up in their numbers. They're comparing numbers all the time. And I'm like, hey, when's the last time you took a vacation? It's been 3.5 years. When's the last time you went to a concert or saw a Broadway show? 1987. Okay, well, great. You're making tons of money, more than me. Great. But you're not enjoying life. So if you're not enjoying life, what's the point? Got to find that balance. Lola says I'm really bad at having fun. So yeah, Lola, I'm coming to see you in 2 months or a month and a half. So we'll have some fun. And I hope what I'm teaching you rubs off on you. And I hope me having fun. And my mom will tell you, I've always been the center of attention. I've always had fun. And from kindergarten till I got kicked out of college, and that'll be a story for another day, every teacher, every professor has said the same thing in my report card. I got good grades. Jason's a great student, but he talks too much. Because you know what I was doing? In kindergarten, I was chasing girls and kissing them already. So I was always having fun and enjoying life, and that has never quit for me. And so if you don't enjoy it, let's enjoy it. Let's figure it out. Let's find something to make you enjoy it, because that's what you got to do. All right. I'm going to call that a wrap tonight. Thank you all. Monday, I'll get the post in the Secret Beach tomorrow for the time on Monday. It will be spreadsheets. And what we're going to do is we're going to work through them straight through. So I'm going to build you your inventory spreadsheet and your sales spreadsheet. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So you're going to be able to go back and watch it step by step. So this will not be slides and pictures. This will be you're going to be watching the spreadsheet screen the whole time. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to go very slow. And I know some of you can use them already. I know that what you're going to see is rudimentary, but I know a lot of you can't. And I think part of having a good business is being able to see what you have and how it's going. So that's all part of it. All right. So with that, yeah, me, center of attention. What? So with that, I'm out of here. Everyone have a great Friday. Tune in Sunday for Mom and I's show, which will be at noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We're going to talk about measuring clothing. And then Monday will be your next webinar. And I got a great guest speaker for March, so you'll see that soon. All right? Hang loose, everybody. Bye-bye.